You're listening to the Dirty Air Podcast.
Hey, let me hear some Skinner, brother.
It's in the face, Dilmer. In the face.
I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't know how to party.
And now, here are your hosts, Chuck Busch, Jonathan Merriman, and Matthew Dillner.
Hello, and welcome to the Dirty Air Podcast. Another exciting episode here on NASCAR.com. I'm Chuck Busch, joined today by a camouflaged Eldora t-shirted Jonathan Merriman.
This music stinks.
I'm playing it just for you.
Camouflage and jazz.
Camouflage and jazz. It goes well together. It's like peanut butter and crumpets. And then...
You call yourself an American, and then you say that.
Oh, John. Oh, I didn't even see him
Matthew
there.
Dillner's here,
yeah,
too,
Matthew
by the way.
Dillner is here as
him.
well.
I
Yeah.
didn't see you in that
I
shirt.
saw his face.
Lovely Eldora shirt.
And he's got the day glow orange on there, so, you know, the hunters will avoid him
He's
at
definitely
the dirt track.
looks like he's hunting.
This
He
music
does.
does have me ticked.
Why?
I told you that.
Why?
What's wrong with it?
It's not NASCAR music.
What is NASCAR music?
Something a little more, masculine
this
than
is
I don't know.
Sweet tea and NASCAR.
Sweet tea and NASCAR. So you want like heavy guitars, just jamming out? I mean,
Chuck loves to talk about music, by
Yeah,
the way. We'll
I do.
never even get talking about NASCAR
Yeah, if we
watch
don't
it.
stop now,
Were you guys-
I'll
were you guys
I'll
talking
fade
in
it down.
general? If
I'll
you were-
fade it down. I'll
that-
fade it down.
the music
is that
made me
better?
go to
Is that
sleep.
better? No, is that better?
Are you okay?
I made it.
You seem
be okay.
very angry right now.
It's okay. Promise.
You seem very angry. You okay?
I'm great.
Do you want to talk about it? No?
I don't.
Okay, I don't either. You know what I do want to talk about, though? Kyle Busch.
Who?
Kyle Busch, my cousin, with an added C in his name. I'm Chuck Busch with, no C
Yeah,
in the bush.
you're the C-less.
I'm like an actual shrub. He's like a German shrub. He's added a C in there. Anyway, so he won again. Shocking. Shocking, I know. Kyle Busch won.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5, 3 in a row.
The hat trick, baby.
Hat trick. Did this surprise any of you guys?
4 out of 9 on the year. That win percentage is pretty good,
That's
too.
amazing.
That's a pretty good. I mean, he is in rarefied air these days.
Joe Gibbs Racing is just on a tear in the Cup Series and in the Xfinity Series.
Sweeping poles.
Polls, wins. Kyle Busch is back, and he is back better than ever. And this is a run that we were just talking about it before the show started. It's historical.
Well, I mean, if you look at the other drivers that have won more than 3 races in a row, like that's sort of that magical number. 3 is a magical number. There's guys on there like Junior Johnson, David Pearson, Richard Petty, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, Buck Baker, Bobby Allison, and Kyle Busch.
Yep.
I mean, we've talked about this before. Yep, that's what you got. Yep.
I mean, you look at it, that's elite company.
It is elite. Now,
Absolutely elite company, and it's something in this new chase format and the simple fact that he's got to win and finish and be in the top 30. This run right here, we've talked about it for the last few weeks, is historical, and it's continued, and this is the story of the year. And I'm talking not just in NASCAR. This, at the end of the year, if he goes on to win the championship, can be one of the biggest stories of the year in all of sports.
that seems to me that's what his, and I hate to put, I mean, he's still young, and I hate to put it in that perspective, but that's what's missing from his career is that championship.
Yes.
Like you hear these debates with, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Well, Michael Jordan's got his 6 titles, LeBron's not. And he's, Michael Jordan was undefeated in the championship game. LeBron is defeated. Does that change the fact that LeBron is the greatest player in the game right now? Does this change the fact that Kyle Busch is one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR right now?
One of the greatest drivers in this era. You could look at Jeff Gordon. You could look at Jimmy Johnson. You look at Kyle Busch. What is Kyle Busch missing? You said it right there, the championship. If he gets that championship, he puts himself in that elite company. Because right now, when it comes to, wins, everybody talks about Kyle Busch. People compare him to Tim Richmond. Tim Richmond never had a title. Kyle Busch doesn't have a title right now. They're in that company. If he gets that championship, takes that next step into the elite territory.
You got
I agree with him. No, he's ridiculous. What we're seeing out of him right now is we
It's
talk
awesome.
about it every week, what he went through and where he's at. I mean,
Well,
rock bottom to tippy top.
I think the main thing, and we're watching history right now. Can you take yourself out and look at that, put yourself in that perspective and say, all right, I'm looking at someone at the height of their game, performing at the height of their game. If you look at the drivers that have performed better than that. Yeah, that next level, 4 wins in a row, that streak going to 4. There's 2 current drivers on the circuit that have done that.
Only 2.
Only 2. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. They've got titles. You got Mark Martin. He's got 4. David Pearson, Darrell Waltrip, Cale Yarborough. And then there's that one guy.
There's not that many in the
top.
modern era.
There are not. There's that one guy at the top with 10 wins in a row.
No idea
Richard
who
Petty.
that could be.
The
Richard
King,
Petty.
baby.
The King.
The King.
The King, man. Yeah. Are we ever going to see anything like that again?
Nope.
I don't think so. I don't think in this day and age of parity in our sport, where it's not like there's 10 guys that can go out there and win every week. This sport is so there's so much parity, there's so much equality in the sport as far as the level of competition. You're never going to see somebody rattle off 10 wins again. To see somebody rattle off 3 in a row and 4 out of 5 is absolutely stupendous.
You got to look at the time period too. How many races did they race that year? Who showed up? You didn't have to show up every week. Not to discount it, 10 wins in a row against anybody's, it's a big deal. But, you know, when you only got 36, 38 races, it's impossible.
A different era.
I mean,
it's impossible to compare eras.
Apples and oranges.
What's possible is comparing it to the guys in this modern era, ranging from Dale Earnhardt to Mark Martin to Jimmy and Jeff.
But
like
you got those
said.
2 that are right there. I mean, you can't deny the fact that Kyle Busch is in rare air.
Yes.
And there was some rare air at Indianapolis this weekend.
A lot of drag.
A lot of drag, but also part of the pre-race festivities, you know, they always let off a bunch of balloons. And that led to the first caution of the day. You guys were out there. What were you thinking when you heard that on the radio?
I was like, what is going on? And I heard that there's a caution. I'm like, there must be debris on the track, but it was a yellow balloon.
Yeah, two yellow balloons.
2 yellow balloons. And I was surprised the caution got thrown, but it was a yellow balloon, so it signified a yellow flag.
Well, and the thing that the thing that I saw with it, if you watch on NASCAR.com the highlight, you see the balloon when the cars are going around the track. You see it move around the car. You kind of see that drag. It was a good representation of the new rules package.
Yes, and it was a very festive
yeah, it was a festive day. You know, like you
celebratory.
They knew what they were doing.
Yes.
But you can see the balloons move around. Now, speaking of that air moving around the car, you heard a lot of guys talking about dirty air.
I want to talk about that balloon real quick.
What do you got?
Because that reminded me of, I forgot what year it was, but Todd Zegedy, who now races in the modified tour. The greatest caution
Chicago?
flag ever thrown. I think it was in qualifying in Chicago.
In Chicago? Yeah.
2004, Tropicana sponsored the race, and the big, giant, inflatable orange got loose. And here comes this giant orange tumbling across the racetrack, and Todd Zegedy almost strikes it. Then they have to bring out the safety crews to get it off the track. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. So this little balloon was kind of nothing compared to that orange.
If you haven't seen it, Google Orange and Chicagoland Speedway.
It's amazing.
And
it's amazing.
Just watch YouTube. It's good stuff. You'll enjoy it. It made me thirsty. I watched it roll down the track, and
Yeah.
you know.
I like orange juice.
Yeah. But you know, at Indy though, going back to Indy, we did have a new rules package. After the race, a couple of the drivers voiced their opinions about the performance on track. So let's take a listen. This clip is on NASCAR.com, but we're going to play it here in the Dirty Air podcast. So take a listen, and we'll check back in on the other side.
Everybody, you know, put in a lot of effort to really try to make everything a lot better. Spent a lot of money, but I don't know that we accomplished everything that we were looking to accomplish. So cars are extremely hot inside. That was probably the biggest surprise that crept up on everybody. But I know everybody spent a lot of money, you know, to get the cars here and put a lot of time and effort in to put the puzzle together. And I know that my team did a lot of extra work to you know, to come to this race after we had already come here and test and already spent that money to you know, to come here and test for a few days, and then to come back and have to race something different was you know, huge undertaking for the teams, for a huge science project that you know, probably didn't really change that much, but everybody tried real hard, and in the end I think obviously we hear our goal is more drafting and more pack racing, so we'll see if we can get to that.
For the most part, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. I was inside the car and can't really see much, but really, to be honest with you, it looks like you got 3 laps to make something happen. After that, you kind of spread out, and it's hard to you know, make the pass. The draft on the straightaway is obviously larger for sure, but doesn't make up for what we lose in the corners. so it's hard to make it happen somehow. I think we can fine-tune the package and maybe see something different, but for the most part, it seemed like Indy out there to me. Restarts are chaos and a lot of fun, and then you got to just make the most you can on the starts.
I think drag is exciting. I would agree that there's nothing more beneficial than to be able to see a guy behind another guy gain on him down the straightaways. Instead of making it a horsepower race, you can make it a drag race. That's fun. But the thing that bothers us drivers is when you get to the corners and you absolutely, when you're by yourself, today, for instance, when I was by myself, I felt like I was a really good race car. I felt like I had the car to beat. But then when you got back in traffic, whether you were behind a guy or behind a group of cars, you were horrible. I mean, it was just absolutely so hard to handle in traffic. And it's not sometimes such a bad thing, but you don't want to feel like you're going off into the corner and you're going to crash every time. That's the thing. You want to have some sort of security. So I think there's something to be learned from today. I'm not sure it's the right combination exactly.
So there you heard Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, and, of course, the winner, Kyle Busch, which I would have told you that before we went into that soundbite, but I had a couple of marbles, I think, in my mouth, and I couldn't quite get that out. But you had a couple of drivers talking about the rules package.
Yeah, and the drivers were definitely vocal about it, Chuck, and vocal is good. We're all vocal. Everybody's talking about it, and that's a good thing. And the bottom line is I looked at Clint Bowyer's tweet personally. My personal opinion is that we went somewhere with this drag package. I don't know, and the drivers don't know if this is the answer. It was definitely better than other Indy races. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It was a really good race.
We were noting that when we were cutting the highlights that it was a little bit more racy, but it was still very Indy.
I think
it was still very. I'd like to see
Logano nailed it. The first 3 laps on the restarts were
amazing,
were crazy. So
I'd like to see. Clint Bowyer tweeted something about, it worked, but is it the answer? I mean, he was thinking maybe that Kentucky package, trying it on something like this. But the bottom line is, we're talking about we're trying.
Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of NASCAR. The stewards of the sport, they're always trying to make it better.
And we're trying. You know, we heard him say science experiment. It worked because it was a better Indy race, but we're trying. We're not sitting idle, and I like that.
And one of the drawbacks to the package was it seemed like after watching the Xfinity race and then the Cup race, there's a lot more heat inside the cars. And with your science experiment reference there, Landon Castle, athlete, guy that runs triathlons, has picnics with Dillner and myself, and he did a little science experiment. Did you guys see this on Twitter?
He lost, 8 net pounds? 15?
Net weight loss
he lost
8
15.
pounds.
He took in enough to where the net was 8.
When he went in, I mean, he was a whopping 155 pounds going into the race. He consumed 110 ounces of fluids, and I think he lost about 1,100 calories or something, somewhere in there during the race.
Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs?
How much?
A little over 8 pounds.
Right. And
to
he
give you an idea.
He took in more fluid than he thought he was going to. But still, the weight loss was 15 pounds. Yeah. 15 pounds. Net weight loss, 8. That, to me,
that's almost 2 gallons of water.
Yeah.
And that's a legit stat.
And we're talking about the temperatures that were in the cars were just unbelievable. So, it's not just a weight loss, it's the endurance. I'm sick and tired as a lifelong racing enthusiast and a guy who's raced myself, who clearly is not really an athlete. I'm sick and tired of people saying that NASCAR drivers are not athletes. This is case in point. This is case in point. NASCAR drivers are doing things at a high rate of speed, hand-eye coordination, on the edge of destruction of getting hurt. And they're doing this mental and physical exercise while losing all that weight.
Well,
these drivers are athletes.
They went 150 less miles on Saturday, and you saw Kyle Busch had to take a minute, sit on the ground. Elliott Sadler,
dehydrated.
He was dumping water on himself, went
Regan
to the care
Smith
center.
was dumping water. I mean, these guys were exhausted.
Yes.
And it was hot. It's always hot.
This guy right here was his first time at Indy. And this guy he went out in the qualifying grid with me. I thought he was going to pass out.
It was hot.
It was hot. It wasn't just, Indy, it wasn't just, wow. Listen to me today. I can't speak today.
It's okay.
It was not just your first time at Indy.
First dirt race at Eldora.
First dirt race.
Oh, yeah.
How was that? I mean, I see you got a T-shirt.
I did.
You
get
liked
a
it so
t-shirt.
much
We're
you got a
both rocking
T-shirt.
our
I like the
T-shirts.
T-shirt. I loved the late models at Eldora.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw the video
our
that
producer
you guys
Matt
posted of
Stricker
Matt
loved
Stricker.
it too. Yeah.
I mean, that was like watching Christmas morning.
And the truck race was amazing. I mean,
Truck race was
it had about 12,422 cautions, it seemed at times.
That's a lot.
But if it was longer green flag runs, it might have been one of the best races I've ever seen.
Well, Christopher Bell and Bobby Pierce, two guys that a lot of people have never heard of, put their names on the map and they put on a show.
I mean, you see
Bobby Pierce, a late model regular and somebody in those ranks that knows how talented he is. And Christopher Bell from the USAC ranks and now running late models with KBM and taking that fast track up and Toyota involved with him. Those are two of the most talented race car drivers in America on the short track scene. And that's what's so cool to see these truck regulars battle against these guys. And what a spectacle. 4 wide, 5 wide at the end. It was truly an amazing race.
I had the chance to talk to Christopher Bell's mother in Victory Lane, and I asked her, I was like, "Do you guys have any idea coming in here that he was going to be that good?" And she kind of smirked at me, and she said, "We thought he'd be pretty competitive."
The kid can drive.
He'd be all right.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
He's young.
Now,
he's young.
It's the second year in a row that the 54 has won that race. Watching the replays of this, it just seemed like they were throwing it into the corner and like using every bit of that truck, like using the wall. It was almost like watching a video game.
I mean, he was
Bobby
pushing it
Pierce's
to the edge.
truck. I mean, that thing.
It was tore up.
He used every bit of that thing to cross the finish line in second place, trying to get to first.
Spectacular. So any fan that didn't watch that race, any person that didn't go, it's foolish. If you didn't watch that race, you missed something spectacular.
If you have a racing bucket list, that needs to be.
If you host a radio show,
I didn't.
If you host a radio show in NASCAR and you didn't watch the race, what is wrong with you?
But he's been before.
I've been to Eldora, and now
I know.
I will tell you what's wrong with me.
He had an off weekend.
I work in the sport, right?
Yes.
You know, I live and breathe.
Here comes the excuse.
This sport. It is an excuse, but it was my day off.
There you go.
I was at a concert.
Hey, there's technology
and it was
these days called a DVR.
Well, you know, on
You should try it out
NASCAR.com,
sometimes.
we have this great thing that we do after every race.
And this is how we say it in the South: highlights.
We got highlights. So I can go back on NASCAR.com. I did.
Okay, well then you're okay with me.
Look,
as long as you're on
it
NASCAR.com.
is my job.
Hey,
I have to get caught up on what happened if I want to know what I'm talking about.
Chuck
right?
Busch probably at some establishment drinking sweet tea out of a straw, not watching NASCAR.
I was watching a band called Lord Huron.
Dillner is mad at you.
Well, here's the thing. One of your favorite drivers actually tweeted about Lord Huron and saw him in Atlanta following the New Hampshire race.
David Pearson's got Twitter?
Yeah, he does. David Pearson is surprisingly good with technology these days. No, it was not Pearson. It was Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's pretty cool.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a fan of Lord Huron. If you haven't checked him out,
I'll check him out.
It's a great show.
Music.
It's a great show. I'm actually going to another concert tonight. I'm going to hear My Morning Jacket.
I'm going to Pocono. Okay.
Tonight?
No, tomorrow.
PocoYES. PocoYES.
I think we should move on to the next segment. Speaking of going places.
Well, going places. Pocono was a good spot.
You're not going to Pocono. I'm the only one going to the.
You are.
The Triangle.
The Triangle. What's tricky about that place?
Everything is tricky.
You got 3 turns. There are 3 different kinds of turns.
Are those bumps going to be tricky anymore?
Well, here's the thing. They aren't. I talked to Brandon Adolski this morning, the
friend of the F Post.
Friend of the F Post and track president at Pocono.
What's
on the way
the F
in
Post?
Here.
It's a segment on NASCAR.com.
Segment on NASCAR.com.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
But 2 dorks that are on it. Anyway.
It's funny. People should check it out.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't even pay him to say that. But Igdalski told me this morning that shortly after that race that we had there earlier this summer, that they took off the whole top layer of the pavement there in the tunnel turn, one of the trickiest turns in NASCAR to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
And then they reapplied some pavement there. So the thing he said that should be interesting, though, is that new pavement, whenever they put down new pavement, is a little grippier. So he says when you go into that turn, it's not very grippy, and then you're going to hit that patch that might have a little bit more grip and then less grip when you get off of it. So we know it's going to be smooth. We know it's not going to be the huge humps and bumps, but it could play a little fun role in how the racing is.
I like patchwork tracks personally if they're done right. You don't want, a 4-inch lip or whatever your race car is going to go over.
I mean, you don't want like cobblestone and then asphalt and then sand.
No, but like with Kentucky, where they ground the bumps out of it, it changes it a little bit, and it's not the same. And
if I was a race car driver, I wouldn't have liked those bumps. I'm just going to say that right now. But from a fan's point of view, I kind of liked them a little bit. But I respect what they did.
And Pocono is, I don't want to say a streaky track to mean in a bad way, but drivers go on streaks at this track.
It is.
Martin Truex Jr. got the win in the first Pocono race. Does he follow it up in the second Pocono race?
He had a top 5 in Indy, which that's a good indicator. But if you're going to put your money on somebody, why not go with a guy who's won the last 3 and won Indianapolis, which is a good indicator?
I think the 78, though, Martin Truex Jr., that was such a breakout performance for him, and I really think they're going to be a force to contend with this weekend. I'd predict a top 5 out of Truex for sure, but we've seen it with Dale Earnhardt Jr. last year sweeping Pocono. Yeah. We could see it again with Martin Truex easily.
Are we going to see it with Kyle Busch? I mean, you mentioned
you're saying 4 in a row.
I think if I'm making streak to the finish picks, I'm picking Kyle Busch. If I'm making fantasy live picks, I've got Truex and Kyle Busch on my team.
Yeah, that's smart money right there.
Yes,
so
it is.
Using your budget wisely on NASCAR.com Fantasy Live.
And don't forget about Dale Earnhardt Jr. too.
Oh yeah,
who is that?
He's a guy. He drives race cars number 88 from Hendrick Motorsports.
He's pretty popular.
He is.
Dirty Mo.
He is. Yeah, he's got his own
Dirty
podcast.
Rice.
Dirty Rice, Tim.
So
Dirty Rice.
You've got
gnomes.
Gnomes? We've got gnomes? Anyway, we got derailed. Jeff Gordon.
Yes.
Pocono. Active driver, most wins at that track. But this season, has it been his season?
They still have the magnifying glass out. They're still looking for stuff.
The bottom line is, I've said it at the beginning of the year, Jeff Gordon will make the chase. I said Jeff Gordon would have multiple wins. So far, he doesn't. Does Jeff Gordon get a win and get himself into this chase before the end of the season? He's on the verge of not being in this chase. Does he get in via consistency? I still think he does. Jeff Gordon's got a lot of will and a lot of desire in him, and he was very disappointed climbing out of the car in Indy. Obviously, something that wasn't his own doing.
Had a good car.
Had a great car. So it's not like they're out to lunch. There's just a
They've
monkey
had
on his
good
back.
cars.
No
How
luck.
How many poles have they had this season? I believe it's
3?
2 or 3.
2 or 3?
3 poles this season. He's got 3 poles. So they've got speed. It's just that race day, something is not clicking.
Got to put it together.
He's got old Jaco Flacco on his back. Little monkey on his back.
Monkeys.
He's got to
he loves
flick
monkeys.
that monkey off the
He
back.
loves
Maybe they'll
donkeys
get
and
up.
monkeys.
Maybe they'll get up for the Bristol race, paint job, everything. But I mean, we're getting to the point in the year where you have quite a few races left before the chase cut off, but there's not a lot of racing left before that.
Well, it's not like he could automatically
it's
win
contradicting
anyway.
itself, but you know what I mean? We're getting close to
crunch time.
Your opportunities are running out.
Does he make it? Does he make it in the chase?
Come on.
Am I putting you on the spot?
How he's running right now and how his luck is? If his luck doesn't turn around, no.
Well, he's averaging about a 15th place finish in
That's
his
not
races.
going to get
That's
it
not
done.
Jeff Gordon either.
It's not Jeff Gordon.
But it's not like he's performing poor. He's just got to shake that luck, man.
Do we see
But
the
will it
Hollywood
happen?
ending?
I think so. I mean,
Does he ride off into the
NASCAR
sunset?
has been full of historically Hollywood endings. So is every other sport. Everybody loves to see it. And you know what? Great moments happen. Great drivers rise to the occasion in great moments. I think Jeff Gordon, being one of the greats one of the greatest drivers we've ever seen in NASCAR, will rise to the occasion.
Not that I think it would be as a kid who grew up watching the Rainbow Warriors and all that stuff on the track and getting excited about that. I think I'll be disappointed if he doesn't make the chase.
I mean, of course. What NASCAR fan wouldn't be disappointed?
Even if you're not a Jeff Gordon fan.
He used to be despised.
I know. I think he'd make a great movie.
It would be. Yeah, it should.
I think his story would make a great movie.
We should
produce it.
Get the rights
Let's get
to
Ron
that.
Howard in on that. Ron?
Ron Howard. I know
get him on the phone,
they
please.
hung out in Indy when Ron Howard was getting ready to make
He was actually getting ready to put out the movie Rush.
Yes,
One-
Rush.
one- a
I was
great
about to
racing
say
movie.
Driven,
Love
which
that
was not
movie.
it, but Rush.
Rush is amazing.
I was having a mental lapse on what I was going to say there. But yeah, Ron Howard, he's been to a couple of NASCAR races. If you had to pick your favorite racing movie.
You first.
Ooh.
Him
Jonathan
first.
Merriman looks
You
like he wants
first
to
in the gimme
dodge
gimmes.
this. Jonathan Merriman.
Come on.
What's your
Merriman.
favorite racing movie?
Days of Thunder. It's a generational thing. I've seen Stroker Ace.
Going chalk.
Funny movie, but
Going chalk.
I like the more serious, like stick to plot, not like
Robin's Racing.
Ricky Bobby's hilarious. Stroker Ace is hilarious. Funny stuff has its place, but if I'm gonna pick.
Well, that
racing,
movie was pretty funny too.
If I pick it was funny, but I mean, it was quotes,
it had a drama story.
Quotes for
had
days
ice cream
in that movie.
Had ice cream. I like
Had,
that.
had an
rental car
amazing.
fun.
Look, anytime you
What's
can
that?
anytime you can put the Spencer Davis group, you two with your rental cars.
No, what were you saying?
I was saying
Spencer Davis Group?
Anytime you can put Spencer Davis Group and have a montage of classic tracks in the late '80s, early '90s.
Even Rocky had a montage.
Yeah,
If they didn't have
always
some
fade
errors,
out in a montage.
If they didn't have some errors in the movie where like Brett Bodine is spinning and then all of a sudden it's Harry Gant or vice versa,
The only
it
thing
would have been perfect.
Look, continuity is.
That's a 6-gear race car, right? I'm dropping the hammer. Boom. Oh, what are you
Also,
going?
oh,
I
I
thought
found
he
a
dropped
gear.
it back in.
Yeah.
When do you find a gear with like 2 laps to go? Oh, I'm
That's
just gonna
how
shift
much
and-
speed Cole Trickle had. He had an extra gear. All right, Harry Hogg. He had that when he was talking
my
to the
favorite
when he was
actor right
talking to
there.
the car in the race in the
I'm gonna
barn.
build you an engine.
I'm gonna
Okay,
build
what
you an
about
engine.
Dylan's
I'm going to
ground.
give you 6 gears.
Extra big oil
NASCAR
pan.
won't find out.
Cut the wind out from underneath you. I'm going to give you an extra fuel line that'll pull an extra gallon of gas and shave a half of an inch off you and shape you like a bullet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
So
is.
yeah,
What's your
it's a
favorite
good-
movie, Donor?
My favorite movie is a little more old school.
Okay, Chuck, what's yours?
Shocking.
Okay,
Yours is
Chuck,
old
you want to
school.
go first? You
No,
go first.
I would-
I want to hear you.
I want you to go.
Okay. Bottom line
This
is
is my game.
the greatest actor in the history of American cinema.
My game.
Ronald Reagan.
Do you want to hear it?
What? Yeah, I want to hear it. Ronald Reagan, greatest actor though?
No.
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 It was a joke.
I know.
Dude, really?
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers. Love will turn you around. That's the single right there. From the movie Six Pack. My favorite movie. I wore out that VHS as a child.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is, this weekend, this is the most random day of my life. I'm driving in the car and I hit a detour and I'm on the phone with my wife. And I get all mad and she's like, "Don't worry about it. God, we're both talking about God puts detours in there for some reason. Maybe you'll see something cool on the side of the road, because I always do when I'm driving between NASCAR races or whatnot. I'm weird." And
Yeah.
I see this old car and I stop at this garage and I walk in. Long story short, there's this old guy named Sham who comes up in a golf cart. "Hey man, can I help you?" And all of a sudden I see over his shoulder, number 49, the Camaro, Brewster Baker from the Six Pack, the movie car.
The actual car?
There's Sham and I.
No, was that the actual
The
car?
actual car. It was laying in the weeds. They restored it. And I got to sit in Brewster Baker's number 49. It was awesome. I was a child again.
If you're watching this on NASCAR.com, you can see this right now. Dillner posing with the car doing his selfie. If you're listening in iTunes, go to NASCAR.com and watch this and get to whatever point in the...
And if you've never seen that movie, if you've never seen Six Pack, you're not a darn racer. Have
Hey,
you
man,
seen it yet?
I have not.
Well, I'm getting you the movie.
Well,
'Cause
here's,
I like
here's the
you.
thing. I have searched.
Swifty, baby. It's
I have
Swifty.
searched
That
You
kid's
so
Tony
much
sucker.
for that on the internet. Like a
I just called him
digital
a toad
copy.
sucker. He
I
didn't
heard
get
it.
it.
Yeah, I
heard
heard you. I heard you. I was just ignoring you. Because I was just
It's
I was
Swifty,
saying
you
that I have
toad sucker.
I have tried to look for that on the internet in a
I've got it
digital
for
copy.
you. I'll give it to you.
And it's nowhere.
But I'll give it to you.
Like there are like every
you can
time I
watch
think
it on
about
YouTube.
it. You can?
Yes, I have.
Where?
On YouTube.
Send me
Look
the
it up,
link.
Six Pack.
Send me the link.
I
Send
got
me the
you.
link because I literally have searched high and low.
That's
I've had
right, Brewster.
I've had days where I've had nothing to do. I've been sitting at home. I've been watching documentaries.
Get
I
a
watched
job,
Stroker
kid.
Race. I got a job.
Maybe you should watch the truck race.
I did. But I watched Stroker Race. I watched all these movies, but I couldn't find Six Pack.
Well, what's
Six
your
Pack,
favorite?
Consider it done. I will give you Six Pack.
All right.
Brewster Baker, Swifty. It's an epic movie.
What's your favorite, Chuck?
My favorite?
Mm-hmm.
See, I've been debating this one
Oh boy.
internally. I mean, part of me, because it was, college for me and Ricky Bobby, and that is a very quotable movie.
It's so fun.
Talladega Nights. I was quoting it earlier today. The line, I'm gonna put all my eggs in that basket. I put in my tape for MTV. I'm gonna be on the Real World.
You spilled my macchiato.
Yeah, it is a very quotable movie. But, and like you said, Days of Thunder, another quotable movie. I keep going back to Stroker Ace.
Why not?
I mean,
Greatest
Burt Reynolds.
cameos. Dude.
Yeah,
Some of the best cameos.
When you hear Ken Squire, when you hear the real Ken Squire, I guess is the best way to put it. Like iconic man in NASCAR. Like when you think of gravitas and NASCAR, Ken Squire. He's got an award named for him in the Hall of Fame.
Did you say Gravity?
Gravitas.
And then you got Earnhardt and Kyle Petty and them wheeling hotel carts wheeling all over Aubrey James into the pool.
You hear Ken Squire drop a colorful
curse.
phrase.
Yeah,
he cusses, and it was awesome.
It was great.
It's like just once.
I do love Burt
Tell me
Reynolds.
the truth.
Smokey the Bandit's probably my favorite movie of all time.
It's Smokey the Bandit with NASCAR. Jim Neighbors.
Yeah.
How can you not like
guess,
Jim Neighbors?
Back home again in Indiana.
Come on, Stroker.
Stop.
I was listening to Jim Neighbors in the airport.
Yeah,
on the way
fastest
here.
chicken in the South, man. I mean, there's so many good
And
things.
no, we're not talking about John West Townley.
No, we're not.
No, he's
because
chicken
he's
guy,
not
though.
Southern.
No.
But
I was talking this weekend. Have you
Yes,
ever
he
heard the
is. Where's he
Chicken
from?
Truck song by John Anderson?
No.
The what?
Every John West Townsley highlight should have chicken truck music behind it. You've never
Why
heard that
not?
song?
The what?
Chicken Truck by
Chicken
John
Truck.
Anderson.
Look it up, folks.
Look it up.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
But it's
I'll-
not as good as Love Will Turn You Around.
I don't. There's
Like
there's-
Kenny Rogers.
There's a lot of Kenny
Look
Rogers
at that
songs.
beard right there. Well, not his beard. Kenny's
Pre-facelift
beard.
Kenny Rogers was
Way
good.
better.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Kenny
Anyway.
Rogers got some good chicken.
And a bad facelift.
Yeah, but he's got some great tunes. Like
And the
just
go-
walked
and he
in to see
sings
what the
gospel.
condition my condition
Yeah.
was in.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
That's one of his first hits.
classics.
Moving on.
We get on music and he's like, "Oh, moving on. I don't want to talk about music
No,
because I don't like things that are good."
Hey,
Did you see my tweet
honorable
this
mention
morning?
though, we talked about Rush. I don't
Yeah.
like the modern movies as much, but that was one of the most amazing films that I've seen in racing. The authenticity,
Ron
felt like
Howard,
a
man.
documentary.
the detail that Ron Howard put into that thing was just something that every person that considers himself a racer could be proud of.
But yeah, I got to be honest. I can't. I don't know if I can, in good conscience, take your opinion on good things. Just saying that.
I'm with you.
I'm with you.
That's fine.
I mean, he didn't even know what a cannoli is.
Yeah.
He didn't know a
Take your-
cannoli.
He's not cultured.
He didn't know a cannoli. He didn't know what a tamale
Don't
was. And
get me
he
started
didn't,
on
hold
tamales.
And then he didn't know, what was the third thing that you
A
didn't know?
tamale tastes like
Okay.
you're eating a used gym sock.
Oh, you didn't know what
Do you know what
poutine
poutine
was?
is?
3.
Oh. What about garbage fries? Do you
That's
know what
3.
garbage fries are?
No,
That's
I
poutine.
don't.
The poutine powerhouse.
That's fine.
Ah,
I made it to
Anyway.
27 without any of that stuff. I don't feel like I've missed out on anything.
so let's go to something where I actually do value your opinion. Racing. All
Fair
right.
enough.
All right. Fair enough. Is that a good segue for you? Does that work?
That works.
So Pocono this weekend, Tricky Triangle. Who have you got winning?
If anybody picks against Kyle Busch, they're
What-
dumb. So I'm not
That
a
is
big-
great logic.
Yeah.
I am glad that I asked you that question because you backed it up with facts.
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
I like it.
You are a great reporter right now.
No.
You're reporting is stuff. You know what? We're going to put you on the internet and you're going to be reporting on NASCAR.
So
Go.
no.
Back it up.
You're dumb.
Give me facts.
I just think that the role that they're on is ridiculous. I do think he's going to win 4 in a row. As we said before, Indianapolis is a great indicator of how you run at Pocono. You can't run any better at Pocono or Indianapolis than winning the thing. So he's going to win at Pocono.
All right. I will
That's
take
pretty
that.
linear.
Yeah. I'll take that. I value your opinion on this because you know what you're talking about when it comes to NASCAR because you hang out in the media center and you're a good guy. So Matthew Dillner, who are you taking? Since you're going to be the only one of us, Kenny Rogers isn't running.
No. This driver has a beard.
Okay.
Okay? This driver has a beard right here. Brewster
Jimmy
Baker.
Johnson. So
Okay,
he's
no.
picking. Yes, you are.
Dale
And
Earnhardt
this
has a
driver,
beard. Dale
this
Earnhardt Jr.
driver
has a
has a
beard,
beard and he loves six-pack. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh,
Winner.
look at that. I called it.
Winner. Boom.
Called it.
Done.
Is that because he had a Budweiser sponsorship?
No, he
he's
has
a
a
man.
beard because he's got facial hair.
Because he's a man.
You guys don't like
Yeah, no, I got
with
I
your
got
jazz
what you're saying
music.
there.
You're up here. I'm down here.
I listen to every type of music.
Yeah.
bro.
I'm down here. For
And I eat tamales.
Yeah.
And cannoli.
He
Yeah,
eats
he
all
can-
kinds of food, clearly, and listens to all kinds of music because he's got a fun hat.
All kinds.
Yeah, all kinds. I like
kinds.
country and western.
And Western.
We play all kinds of music here on the Dirty Air podcast. Country and western.
You pick, Chuck.
Lord.
Who am I picking?
Uh-huh.
Come on. Bring it to us, Chuck.
I'm
Come
on
on.
the spot. I'm on the spot. I kind of want to. I like your pick of Dale Earnhardt Jr. because he ran. All right. He had that little issue. The Hendrick cars had that little bit of issue at Indy. But
Dun, 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 dun,
I'm going to
dun.
go with Kyle Busch's teammate and another guy who has won a lot of races at Pocono and who's been on a solid run, Denny Hamlin.
That's a solid pick.
I'm going
wins.
Jets.
4 wins at Pocono.
Yeah.
The guy can get it done.
Yeah, he can get it done
and
at
Joe
Pocono.
Gibbs Racing is so hot.
They're
How
on
can
fire.
you pick against him?
I
agree.
think those two. I think Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are going to be battling it out at Pocono, and I think Denny gets the tricky triangle, gets up to 5 wins, puts him up there around that Jeff Gordon air.
Triangles.
I think it's going to be good stuff. Oh man.
Triangles to Eagles.
Triangles to Eagles. And we're going to go to Eagles because at Pocono, they have one of the greatest trophies on the entire circuit. It is Rock, Flag, and Eagle. And with that, we go to Jonathan Merriman for his Eagle Fact of the Week.
Well, this comes to us from the National Eagle Center's website. Apparently that's a thing, which I respect. We're talking about the lifespan of eagles. In the wild, the ones that make it to adulthood live to be about 20, 25 years old. Only 70 to 80% of those eagles, they don't make it to adulthood. So, they passed before the age of 5. That's sad. Now in captivity, eagles can live a long time, 40 to 50 years. They attribute that to their healthier diets and veterinary care.
Oh.
So veterinary care, Pocono had some veterinary care, shaving the bumps.
Yeah.
Is that our segue?
I think that's our segue. Yeah.
Did
repaired?
Anyway.
We already talked about it.
We already talked about it. So what we're going to talk about right now is what did we learn today?
I learned that Jonathan Merriman lacks culture.
Yeah.
You took me to a tamale place. The tamales tasted like used gym socks.
They got jelly beans that taste like used gym socks.
Well, they're tamale flavored.
Tamale flavored jelly beans.
I would eat that.
On next
What
week's
did you learn?
podcast, tamale flavored jelly beans.
I like guacamole.
That's what you learned today.
Guacamole.
You learned that on the show today.
I learned that Eagles have facts, and we love movies, and we love racing.
Kyle Busch
gonna
win.
We have fun on the show.
Kyle Busch gonna win.
You know what I learned?
What did you learn, my friend?
I learned.
Hey, who's that weird guy in the corner?
That's me.
That's
what
me
my
from
wife said about that when she
5 years
watched the
ago.
podcast.
Oh.
Just wanted the world
we
to
need
know.
to get okay, guys. If you guys want us to have a better bobblehead, if you guys want to have a better stand up behind Chuck, give us some suggestions, maybe.
I've got a Dale Senior.
Follow us on Twitter and let us know what you think. Follow at J Merriman Sports, at Matthew Dillner, at Chuck Busch. Let us know your thoughts on the podcast. Let us know what you
Dirty Air,
if you want more jazz music.
No,
because you can never have
How
too
about
much
some
jazz music.
salsa? Maybe some polka.
I told you I like guacamole. I like salsa too.
You love eating salsa.
He does. But anyway, we digress. And for Jonathan Merriman, Matthew Dillner, I'm Chuck Busch. Go check us out on iTunes. Download that link. Get it in your podcast feed so you can get it every week. It updates every week. Go to YouTube. Watch it on YouTube or watch it on NASCAR.com because that's where we are right now. We are on NASCAR.com. We are NASCAR.com people. So to all you out there in podcast land, hop out in that clean air, chase down the leader. Woo! And we'll see you next week back in the pack in the dirty air.
iTunes.
Woo!